What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This is the real review for the Real Housewives of Dallas, season 5, episode 7. So the ladies are headed to Austin, and so we have the whole montage of them packing and talking to their husbands and talking to each other and yada yada yada. The most important conversation that sort of happened was we saw Tiffany talking to Deandra, and Tiffany was like, "Well, how do you think things went? With the pizza night?" And Deandra was like, not so well. Like the ladies sort of felt like they weren't really welcome with the whole rules thing, and if you don't do something right, you got to go into timeout. And of course, Brandy felt some kind of way about her putting them damn crickets on her damn pizza. And so, you know, Tiffany was like, all I ever really wanted was to be part of the cool girls. Like that's, and I feel like that's why she came on the show. And she said, that's all I really wanted, but it seems like I'm just not doing a really good job of it. Like I'm not doing a really good job of being part of the cool girls and kind of thing. And so she said, "Well, I appreciate you letting me know. We'll see. Then we had Deandra talking to her husband about the whole situation with Carrie, and Deandra was like, hold on, real quick. And so they're talking about the whole Deandra Carrie situation, and Deandra's talking about how she really just still feels some kind of way about it. She feels like they haven't resolved their issues, that Carrie is just so mean to her all the time, yada yada yada, booda booda booda, bang bang bang. Because I'm sure because of COVID restrictions, they're taking a bus down to Austin where they're staying, and they're doing this whole like rocker theme. They rented like a rock bus, a rock star bus, like a tour bus, and so they're doing this whole rocker theme bus situation, and all the ladies are dressing in their best rocker outfits. Of course, Brandy has to be extra child. Brandy has on like a Dallas jumpsuit with the black wig on. She said this is what, when she was a Dallas cheerleader, that's what they used to wear through the airport so people wouldn't recognize them as Dallas cheerleaders and would leave them alone, child. Of course, she has to bring a blow up doll, Captain. What did she call him? Captain Brian, in the spirit of Captain Brandy from her birthday party. Girl, child. All of them need to leave all of it alone. Anyway, and they're all, like I said, they're all dressed in, their rocker outfits and stuff. And of course, they show up with 5,000 bags of luggage and all of that good stuff. So they're on the tour bus and they're traveling down the road. And I mean, they're having a good time. They're talking about sex, their favorite positions and all the great things about sex. And, do you like this and do you like that? I learned way more than I ever needed to know about them sexually. Yeah. They get to the house where they're staying, and the tour bus can't get to the house because the road is too narrow for the bus to actually get down there. Oh, while they're there, Deandra talks about all of the rocks, that she's been on plenty of rock buses, and she was a roadie, and basically in her early years she used to hang out with bands and travel with the bands and sleep with people in the bands. And we find out that she mentioned some of the bands. None of the ladies knew, but I had heard a couple of them. I mean, the Who doesn't know who the Who is? You might not know who the guy from the Who was, but you gotta know the Who. And she named a couple of other bands that I had heard of in the 80s. I mean, they, she wasn't traveling with, Guns N' Roses and stuff, but, she was on the road, So they get there and the bus cannot get to the house. Baby, they have to walk. And it's about a mile. And they have one of these stiletto heels with luggage. Now, I'm pretty certain that the house made arrangements to get the majority of their luggage off the bus, but they did take stuff with them. And by the time they got to that house, baby, they were hot and sweaty. I think it was like 96 degrees while they were walking. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. But see, you're trying to be cute with the little rock star bus, child, and that bus could not hit them corners, baby. That bus driver said, "No ma'am, what you won't do is get me stuck up in here. I'm sorry, can't go no further." But the house is gorgeous. It's a beautiful home. For whatever reason, they are still sharing beds and bedrooms. I don't understand why they didn't get a house that had enough rooms for everybody that they ain't had to share no beds, but whatever. So Deandra and so Carrie gives the speech outside and she wants to clear the air and she apologizes to Tiffany because she doesn't want Tiffany to think that she's a bully and she just wants Tiffany to have a good time. She said, you told me to make sure you had a good time. I was just trying to make sure you had a good time. I'm sorry if I came off as a bully. I want to clear the air. I want to start fresh. I just want us to be good. And Tiffany was like, oh, it's okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Baby, Deandra was not here for that. Deandra was in her feelings and she did not appreciate Carrie apologizing to Tiffany and not acknowledging the fact that they have problems and that their friendship is not in a good place. And so she is not here for it. So later on that night, Deandra and Tiffany are sharing a room and Deandra is going off about Carrie this, Carrie that. Carrie's not doing this and Carrie's not doing that. And Carrie. And Tiffany is trying to defend Carrie. Tiffany is like, well, maybe she was really sincere in her apology to me. Like, why does it have to be that she's being fake? Like, maybe she doesn't understand. Maybe she doesn't know. Why don't you talk to her? Like, listen, I'm going to give Tiffany credit because Tiffany was really, really trying to get Deandra to, one, calm the fuck down. And two, go talk to Carrie because she was like, maybe Carrie doesn't even realize anything is going on. So Cameron and Carrie end up Cameron and Carrie end up walking in on Deandra and them, but they weren't talking about them at the time. But you know how when you walk in a room and people start acting a little crazy and a little weird, and you're like, what were they talking about when I came in? So when they walk off, Cameron says to Carrie, I think they were talking about us. And Carrie was like, yeah, I think so. Cameron was like, yeah, I think so. And so she was like, well, let's just stand here and listen. Baby, Deandra went right back to it, and she is going off about Carrie, and she's a fake this, and she's fake that, and she owes me this, and she better say that, and I'm this, and listen, Deandra was going all the way off. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Deandra, you are, I've already said all, Deandra is whiny, and she is doing way too much with this whole Carrie situation. On the flip side, Carrie, you are a hard person to get along with, and you're not a nice person either. You ain't that nice. Now, I like Deandra. I think Deandra has a sweet personality. I do think her feelings are hurt, but the way in which she is choosing to handle this probably isn't the best way. So then, of course, Carrie and Cameron go to talk to Brandy and Stephanie about it, and they tell her all about it. And they were like, what? Deandra's saying what? Deandra did what? And Carrie gets really, really upset to the point where Carrie is like crying. And they were like, listen, why don't you say something to her about it? But, talk to her about it, address it. Wait, calm down. Let yourself calm down. And then, let's address it later. And so Cameron gonna tell her, do it over dessert, child. Don't do it over dinner because I want to eat. I don't want it to turn into nothing crazy, child. I want it to be real, okay? I'm gonna eat my food. So they're getting ready for dinner and everything, and we get to dinner, and child, before dinner, they have this whole chicken bingo game where they have chickens in a cage eating. They feed them. And the first chicken to poop, the square that he poops on, if you had that number, you win. Now, Deandra said this is why they think down here in Texas, we are these country bumpkins. Yeah, you're right. Because I ain't never heard of no shit like that before in my life. Pardon the pun. Anyway. So they're having dinner. So the good thing is Carrie ended up winning because it is her birthday. So she ended up winning. So they have dinner. And while they're having dinner, Carrie gets up to give a toast. And basically, Carrie is addressing Deandra. And she ends up saying, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. If you don't want to be here, I don't really appreciate you talking about me behind my back because I don't think that I'm a fake person. If I have a problem with somebody, I say what I have to say to them to their face. And I don't appreciate being talked about behind my back. So, of course, now Deandra is like, And I think Deandra probably thought Tiffany said something, because she sort of looks at Tiffany a little bit when Carrie says, I know you were talking about me behind my back. But then Carrie says, I listened. I stood outside the door and I heard what you said. I heard it myself. So then Deandra couldn't sort of blame anybody else. So then she was like, well, I do feel that way. You're a bully. You're a bully. Here's where the rest of the ladies pissed me off. Cameron, y'all know how Cameron is. If whoever she mad at, she gonna be the friend with the person who's the opposite. Stephanie gonna say, I don't think you're a bully. Brandy gonna say, I don't think you know the meaning of the word bully. Girl, Carrie's a bully. Carrie can be a bully. Carrie is a bully. Carrie has conducted herself as a bully. Now, do I think Deandra can be a little melodramatic sometimes? Absolutely. But Carrie is a bully. She absolutely is a bully. And every time this is happening, all I keep saying and laughing to myself is, where is Leanne? I wish that Leanne would do like a viewing party and we could watch her watch these episodes, because, baby, I know Leanne is sitting somewhere having the time of her life right now. Do you hear what I'm telling you? Then Carrie starts going off about how much of a bully she's not. And the more and more she talks about not being a bully, the more she proves the point that she's a bully. And then when Deandra starts going through the different examples of her being a bully to her, I was like, well, she is kind of making a case. Now, some of the stuff was a little petty, but she is kind of making a case about Carrie bullying her. So, when it was over with, Carrie was like, well, you know what? If you really have such a big problem with me, then you can leave. Deandra was like, you know what? I sure can. She said, I tell you what, I'm out of here. So, she gets up from the table, and she walks off. And, of course, a couple of ladies go after her. They try to get her to stop. She goes inside. And she starts packing. And she calls her husband and tells him what's going on, and tells him that she coming home. Now, he tells her she need to stay. If you leave, Carrie wins. You need to stay. I feel like he just wasn't ready for her to come home. Because if that's my husband, he better be like, I'm on my way. If I call him and tell him what's going on, he better be like, girl, I'm on my way. Send me the address. I'm putting it in the GPS right now. I'm on my way home. But back outside at the table, Carrie is talking about how she talking about I will never apologize to Deandra. She better beg me. She better come and beg me. If she wants, she better beg me for my apology. So now, Dr. Tiffany is like, okay, you are coming off like a bully now. Like, how's somebody gonna beg you for an apology and beg you? And I was like, see, now we doing the most. But anyway, that's where it ended, child. Deandra ended up staying. You know she gonna stay on the damn trip. But that's where it ended. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.